Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Teachers Podcast. We are so glad you're here. Whether you are joining for the first time or you have been with us all along, you might know we've been talking about education with the Dr. Eric Thomas and a crew of amazing educators across the K-12 spectrum over the past school year since last summer. And so as we're coming up on our almost 40th episode, we thought it would be a good time to pause and look back over some of our favorite moments as we've been chatting education with you. So we hope that you enjoy, grab some great information from this recap episode. Then get ready, because we are about to rebrand and relaunch and bring a new excitement into the education space more than ever before with a new name for the podcast, and that will be coming in our next episode. ET will be here to share with you his vision and why we're excited about making a massive impact in education here and beyond, and why this podcast will be here to support educators everywhere. Stay tuned and get excited.
School is the most important thing in your life. And while I hate school, I got a PhD. And I hate school. I hate everything about it. So somebody say, E, if you hate school so much, why you get a PhD? Because I hate school, but I love options. You can have average skill, but you can't have average will. You can't have average will. Like, your will has to be phenomenal. You have to see basketball as the gateway. It's like a passport. Basketball is just your way to get in, and then once you get in, boom, then you dominate. So I'm telling you, you're not taking a test because they're giving you the test. You're taking a test that's about to change your life, your mama's life. And I know if you take the test serious, you'll kill it. When you go through your go-through, your siblings are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your friends are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your parents are watching you. And people will use your strength to get through their stuff.
Welcome to the Extreme Teachers Podcast. We are so glad you're joining us today. We've got an exciting group of guests today joining us and an exciting topic too. So when you listen to this, we'll have been back probably for a few weeks, but we just recently, the team of people you can see here, and Dr. Eric Thomas took a group of students with us. I know we shared with our audience here a while ago we were going to do this, but took a group of students to the Super Bowl for the Super Bowl experience and the game, and a weekend full of just mentorship and hanging out and celebrating their accomplishments after following some programming that we did in their schools, and the students earned the trip. So we're going to excited to talk about it today and recap a little bit what that experience was like. And so some new faces here that we haven't seen before. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves to make sure that we do you justice. Tell a little bit about who you are and why you're joining us today, if that's cool. Aaron, we'll start with you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Aaron Cooney, Program Director, School Days Foundation. Katie, along with myself, are kind of the two that spearheaded this whole trip. And I'm excited to tell everybody about it and, the great time that we had. So good meeting everybody who's watching.
Very good. And then we've got a couple chaperones with us. Yeah. Will you tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we'll jump in and talk about our experience too.
I'm Dan Bogan. I'm the principal of Sexton High School in Lansing, Michigan. Had the opportunity to come off the bench and come to the Super Bowl. One of my staff members was supposed to come, but had an accident and was unable to. So it was a great opportunity for me to have Aaron and ET invite me to come to the Super Bowl with my students.
I'm Mark Miller. I'm the Chief of Student Support Services for Ben Harbor Area Schools. Had an opportunity with my college teammate, Aaron. We've been talking about this for a couple of years, with the opportunity of working with Eric Thomas and his foundation and School Days. And I've been out in Ben Harbor for 2 years this year. We saw the opportunity to have this, this program come to our district, and we just ran with it. Our students were so excited about even the opportunity to even have Eric Thomas come to the school. And after that, Dr. Townsend, the whole administration was so excited and just being a part of it. So just appreciate everyone for having me on this podcast and a part of the program.
And you guys know Vondale, you've been with us here before, but you and your students got to join us this past weekend too. So
yeah, Vondale Singleton.
I know who you are, but yeah, tell us.
Founder of the Champs Male Mentoring Program. A huge thank you and shout out to Brother Aaron, Dr. Eric Thomas, for including Champs in a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Our 3 E's are education, empowerment, and exposure. And we are always looking for ways to get our brothers out the hood, off the block, and have them experience and see things that they wouldn't likewise see. Many adults would dream to go to the Super Bowl, and yet our young people are getting this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and they'll never forget it. So just super grateful, super grateful.
Yeah. So we touched a little bit about this in a previous episode, but we started in a few of these schools. We plan to do more schools, and COVID, kind of changed things up on us a little bit this year. So we'll be back in some more. We're looking for some more schools soon, but we joined a couple of these schools at Sexton and Benton Harbor they were talking about, and brought the playbook program that we've talked about here before, with the goal of increasing literacy and leadership skills in low-income communities and being able to serve teachers, students, families with resources that were tangible, and then motivation, of course, that goes along with that to help increase those skills. And while we were there in their schools, we were so excited just to be there. And the students were so excited, of course, to have Eric there. And then he shared with them during those presentations that if they were to complete a checklist that we gave them, he was going to bring a group of them on this trip. So that's just a little background of how we got here. We had 16 students total, Aaron? 15.
Yep, we ended up with 16.
Okay, so those kiddos did everything that was on their list that we provided them. So they had to increase attendance and grades. Academics had to show growth and no discipline referrals. And they also had to read, of course. I assigned them some reading, but it was choice reading. We wanted them to get books in their hands that they were interested in reading and increase their reading motivation. So they accomplished all of those things and should have felt very proud of themselves. And that's how they ended up with us, joining us on this trip this past weekend. So, Sam, you weren't with us, but you've heard a little bit about it ahead of time. So maybe you can jump in and ask us if there's some specific questions that we can share with you about how it went.
I think first, I just love to hear from everyone. What was the highlight of the trip for you all and your students?
I think just the entire experience, watching some of my students on the airplane who've never had that experience of flying, meeting, Brother Vondale and Mark and Townsville, people I have got an opportunity to meet before, and just to fellowship with them, and seeing Aaron and his beautiful wife and his little girl and Katie and her husband, and just people I haven't seen in a while, and just the whole experience. And again, just watching my students enjoy things that they have never been exposed, as Vondale said earlier, too. So, and then also get an opportunity to see my man, E.T., who I've known since 95, 96.
I would say, like Coach Bogan said, just the opportunity for our students that never flew on an airplane before, just seeing their faces, just they're like, man, everything you guys said you was going to do, you are actually doing it. And, just changing their mindset. Some like, man, I'm thinking about coming to school out here. I want to move to California. And we all know about the game was the highlight in the halftime show. Everybody was so excited about that. And the opportunity to see all the stars, we walking around it, and the students like, we breathing the same air as the billionaires. And I'm like, I told you, it's a whole nother level out here, so that was the highlight. Just hearing the kids talk about the trip and, talk about their experience and just saying, man, I wish we could stay another week, and once they got back, it was like, man, y'all changed our life, type of thing. So that was the highlight. It was all about the kids because, we have opportunities like this. We have the resources to do this type of stuff a lot. But for those students that never been on an airplane before, never been to California before, that was just amazing.
Yeah, I loved when you shared, I think, with us kind of mid-trip that you had heard them talking about like, wow, they actually are doing all the things that they said they were going to do, right? And
Right.
I just think that's so powerful because some of our students are just not used to that follow through, right? They maybe doubted that it didn't sound like it was actually possible, the things that, and of course, everybody's so grateful that you helped arrange and make that happen for all of them. But I think that was a really powerful piece, getting to see the kids feel our goal was to help them feel important and special and that they are worth having experiences like this, and that those experiences, I know that Eric really cares about exposure and access, and we want them to feel like those are things that they could have again in their future and that they're worthy of that too. So seeing that way that made them feel, I think, was really, really special. And then of course, I drilled all of them on what books did they read. And I loved hearing about that too. So they did so good too. They were there were a lot of books I'd heard of and they were telling me all about them. And so that was, of course, a highlight for me too, is hearing about that and having conversations about so they were pretty good, right? Like you got to choose the book you actually like to read and what that looks like for them moving forward and being able to, talk about how they'll continue reading because they figured that out. So that was fun as well.
And I think just really quickly, we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but also that follow through is so important. But also in the pandemic, how many times have you all had to cancel things for kids, right? Because of outside of anyone's specific control as well. So I can only imagine the feeling of a kid, oh, this really happened, especially all the things that have happened in these last 2 years.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it was leading up to the Super Bowl, you're looking on the NFL's website and it's like, they got to be vaccinated. And if they're not vaccinated, we got to test. So we literally went through every hoop just to make sure that nobody was left at the front gate. And when we got there to check in, they just scanned our tickets and were like,
right,
go ahead. And I'm like, hold on, y'all about to check these documents because we went through.
I know that's right.
I don't know what everybody was straight.
Frame them.
And literally we're just like, all right, show us the ticket. And I'm like, wow. So, but either way, you're right, Sam. It was like the pandemic, and that's even why we kind of held out to probably later than you typically would have to buy tickets and flights and all that, just because the NFL even was saying, hey, if it somehow gets canceled, because of it being in LA and they have some tighter restrictions in other places, they were thinking about moving into Dallas Cowboy Stadium. So, just everything that we were, potentially seeing down the road, and for it all to come together, it was great.
Val, that worked before.
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about, the industrial revolution, then you move into the technological revolution, and now I don't know what we in the TikTok revolution.
Right.
I don't know what we in right now. But you have to switch. You have to switch the methodology to meet the times. And I don't think school is played out, but I think kids are comparing TikTok to school,
Right.
and so the competition is greater. The competition is greater. There was a time where college didn't have no comp. It was like, there's nothing better than college. If you want to blow up, you got to go to college, right? And to your point about the microwave, what we have to teach kids is, when you put it in the microwave, it's not hot. You know what I'm saying? It's not hot in the middle. And then when you eat it, it get cold quick. You know what I'm saying? When you put it in the oven like grandma, that joker stay hot, the entire time. And I'm thinking about even my experience with colleges and kids who went to play in the pros. It lasted 2 or 3 years. I'm like, bruh, do you understand? You went to the pros and had a 3 to 5 year run. You still 26, 27 years old. Your whole life is ahead of you. And You don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like your career has fizzed out at 26, 25. And so, Val, I think when we teach this kind of stuff, we teach the totality of college, and this whole thing of, to your point, Val, the way I teach it now is, what is college going to do for you? Like, what is it going to make you? What are you going to become? Because here's the deal. Job, if you know what to do, you can have a safe life if you know how to do it. Right? That's why I try to teach people. Kids look at me and go, man, you know how to, you know what to say. Not only do I know what to do on stage, I know how. I know the methodology. I know the science behind it. So I'm not number one just because I got a voice and it's a lot of kids that grew up. I'm from Chicago, Detroit. A lot of talkers. It's a block full of talkers. It's a lot of kids getting in trouble for running off at the mouth. But they don't know the science behind how to take speaking and turn it into a career. That's what they don't know. That's not something you can get on the block. Now you can learn how to speak on the block. You guys can go back and forth, and what I'm saying, you learn how to argue, debate, who the best, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, like you can Mike Tyson, like you can learn the art of debate and speaking and getting in front of people. But the science, what do I like to call it? Like we use different theories, right? To do it. You can't learn theory on the block, right? So when you learn to practice on the block, then you go to college and get the theory. It puts you in a position where you got a little control, And so I like to teach. College took me from, it's a famous saying that they had, especially in the 90s when the singers were, when the group was out, boys to men.
Come on.
And college is the process of going, for many of us, from boys to men. It is the process where we learn to grow up, in a way that if you stayed in your neighborhood, you may not get the same type of exposure or the same opportunity to advance. Like, I'm being honest, I literally was the third leg of a major college campus ministry. That was big. I learned to pass out flyers. I learned rejection. You know what I'm saying? And I will say this too, and maybe this is played out. I don't know, Val, but college is usually a lot safer than where most of us come from.
Right.
I didn't have to worry about nobody kicking in my dorm room. I didn't, nobody kicking dorm rooms in and doing violence in my dorm room. Nobody bust into our literature class, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
While we were doing presentations. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's important as well for our kids to see. College is also a safe environment. It's an environment where I had 3 square meals. I didn't need it. I thought I did. So my freshman year, I had the biggest meal plan. But it's also a place where you can sit down and competition. When you think about a LeBron James, I think one of his struggles was the people he played with weren't necessarily on his level. And so he didn't get stretched. It's funny. I was talking to, and Sam knows TJ. TJ went to Sexton and he went to Central Michigan, and he didn't go to Michigan or Michigan State, and so I used to always like, what's the difference? And he was like, yo, Central is D1 too. Central is a D1. He was like, I was ranked 16th in the nation. He said, but the problem with Central is that our starters are 5-star. Our second string might be 3-star. He said, when you go to Alabama, the second string is 5-star and the third string is 5-star. So he said, so when we play Michigan, we like kind of practicing against our second string, who's not as fast as their first string. So it's tough because we go through all the plays, but when we get to the big house, they moving a lot faster in the game than they were moving in practice. College to me is a blessing because you're sitting and eating with other 5-stars. Like you're getting stretched. like you're,
come on, that's good.
Imagine you in college and you sit next to Barack Obama. You know what I'm saying? Barack Obama went to school with you. Michelle Obama went to school with you. Like these are the minds that you're talking to in your early 20s. And so Obama, yes, as an adult, he's at his highest peak, But imagine who he was, you know, in the 4-year, in the master's program. Like imagine the kind of conversations and the stuff. So it's just a different level of being stretched. It's a different conversation. You know, it's just different. And a lot of my friends that I went to school with, Derek Green, when we were young, politician, he's like, I'm gonna be a lobbyist one day. Well, he's responsible for the governor of New Jersey winning. Like he's his campaign, you know, chair. And I'm like, yo, my boy D, you know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, you come to Jersey, man, they pick me up, you know, in a car, the police escort, you know, it's unbelievable. I'm at the fancy restaurants, you know, it's like he runs that city. And I went to school with him. I went to school with the Kane boys. They're from Bermuda. They said they were going to be lawyers. I never forget going to a courtroom in Bermuda, and Wayne Kane came in with the British wig because it's a British influence. Bermuda's British. He came in the wig. I'm like, that's my boy. He got the wig on. I said, I saw that on TV. But he was talking about being a lawyer when we were in college.
Yeah.
And so these are the people that I was running with. So it's no surprise that I became who I became, because of the people I was surrounded with. They all had dreams and goals and wanted to do big things. So I would say college is in play because the college environment isn't played. You know, that environment is a lot different, you know, than some other, you know, environments. And I don't know if it's far or something, but people for whatever reason just don't want to go up on a college campus and create a lot of problems. Like I don't really understand that, but it's really a safe, you know, environment. So for me, that's why I would say also that it's not played out. Navigate through this COVID situation. And so I thought he'd be the best guest to have today. My guy, Jonathan. Jonathan, are you in the building? Are you in the building?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm just excited to be in the room with the energy. As you guys, you know, you've been talking that there's an energy shortage. And so being around others that have energy takes you to that next level. So I'm excited to be here today.
Good. So talk more about that, because I know as a principal, now I don't know if I met you as a teacher. I think I met you, maybe, I don't know, maybe you weren't a principal, but I just thought you was running the show. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I was the principal. I mean, I remember you coming in and it was just like yesterday. I mean, you had the vest on, like, I'm like, you had the hat, and the kids, they knew, and they were finishing some of your sentences, and you were like, wow. But the thing that really resonated to me from the first initial visit when you came to my school, you got right amongst the kids, the kindergarten kids. I had pre-K through 5 at the time. And you talked about the little engine that could. And the kids were just like captivated, the kids and the teachers, because it's like it's right at this time now. Like you got to be ready before you get to the storm. You got to be ready before you get to the mountain, you know, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. You're going to get pushed back. But if you keep saying, I think I can, and the kids are like, I can, I will, I must. He was like, no, I'm not there yet. We're just on the can part. You know, you got to take it incrementally. So I think that
Katie, I was doing it, Katie.
I love it.
I was bringing the books out, Katie. So let's just talk real quick. You know, we've been in Principal Month, you know, honoring principals, honoring school leaders. Before we get started on the classroom management, boy, and really, again, we talked about like, it's not a power struggle. It's not the teacher against the students. Let's talk. Can you just give us a word of advice, or give principals, school leaders a word of advice as they're dealing with, you know, this COVID situation?
So I would say start small. Start very, very small. Like do an inventory check of your teachers. Just see, you know, what they like. And, you know, sometimes I would just go and it kind of blends my personal life with my professional life. I do things just because for my wife. It's a just because gift. Like Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, Christmas. Yeah, we do those. But you're not going to tell me when to celebrate or when to do something. So I might bring flowers home just because. So when is the last time you gave your teachers a just because gift? Just because a little chocolate, you know, a little Starburst, whatever their currency is, you got to find out what that currency is, that love language. But just even going in, and I know teachers, like you said, they're covering during conference periods, they're covering all the time. Principals just going in and just say, hey, this is just 5 minutes just from me to you. Just go do whatever you need to do. Just take a break. Just going into
like
the classroom. And I think the teachers then understand we're in this thing together. I talk about this at length when I'm on the campus, but my title means nothing while I'm here with you. I'm here to serve and do what I need to do to help you. Now, when I go represent you at the district level, at the state level, at the national level, yeah, I have to pick up my title then. But when I'm here, I'm just amongst you. Let the greatest amongst them serve. And when you serve others, they're willing to give it back to you.
Preach, preacher. You go. You're taking it somewhere that I didn't know we was taking it there. Preach, preacher. So let's talk real quick. Whoever wants to jump in first, let's talk about, for real, how do we share, power in the classroom? How do we do that? Who wants to take that? Nell?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I truly believe that it is a matter of the heart. It starts in your heart, it starts in your mind. If you don't get that pride and that hunger for power out of your mind and your heart, and then it's just gonna seep out. It's gonna seep out amongst your coworkers. It's definitely gonna seep out with them kids because they're gonna pull it out. And it's gonna seep out with administration. It really is a collaborative effort. You cannot do it all on your own. You are not a 99% creative player on a video game. You have deficits. You have deficits. So-and-so has deficits. Our babies definitely have deficits. It is a collaborative effort. And so when you position your mind and your heart to understand that and to know that you will accept help from wherever help will come. I'll accept help from the kid I'm helping. I'll accept help from the custodian. I'll accept help from another teacher. I'll accept help from administration because at the end of the day, the main goal are the babies. And it doesn't matter. I will humble myself to whatever. I will humble myself to whatever to help these babies. So I truly believe it's a matter of the heart and mind first.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I agree with you 1,000% that you can get help from wherever. But I think to go along with that, to get help to help them. Because sometimes we get help to help us. You feel me? It's like, we don't mind working with people if they're going to blow us up, if they're going to make our dreams become a reality. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if they're going to advance us. But we're not always feeling it if I'm going to advance you and I'm not going to be advanced. And we got to let these kids know, like, flat out, I'm in this classroom for your advancement and your advancement only. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not in here for whatever. It's so funny. Yesterday when we met with the superintendent, Katie had this long presentation. You know what I'm saying? I told her, I said, I'm just going to be real with you. When you go into a space and people know that you are there to blow them up, they'll let you do whatever you want to do.
They didn't need my presentation.
You know what I'm saying? My man was like, Katie started talking. He was like, stop. Whatever you want, we're going to do that. Like, whatever we want, when you want it, how you want it. And I'm just being real, Nell, because there are people who will let people help if they feel like it's going to help their cause. But we got to get to a point where, these kids got to know I'm willing to take the L for you to take the W.
I just want to say Chi-Town's finest. He's Chi-Town finest. Yeah. So this young man is from Chicago, but Vondale does amazing work in and outside of the school. And when you hear of him, you hear about a well-rounded person as well as a well-rounded administrator. And the work goes into the kids, but the kids take it home. And that's what I think, that's one of the ultimate goals as a teacher, as an educator, is for our kids to actually utilize the information. What is it? You say something about application, and you got a little thing you say, E. I can't think about it.
Yeah. You talk about, okay. Knowledge is power, but not knowledge. Applied knowledge. Yeah.
Applied knowledge, right? Yeah. And that's what he's a walking example of applied knowledge. So, welcome to the room, Mr. Vondale Singleton. Hey, Chi-Town.
What up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Man, blessed, man. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, thank y'all for having me.
How are you?
I got to start here though, because we can't start the podcast. A lot of people. She said Chi-Town's finest, Giordano's, Connie's, home run in. Where you at with that? Where you at? I'll weigh in a minute.
Hey, man, I'm gonna throw a fourth one in. Italian Fiesta.
Oh,
Italian Fiesta. Look us up. Italian Fiesta.
How long ago? How long you been on that one?
Hey, man, my students. Any pizza we ask to order, they always say, Mr. Singleton, we want Italian Fiesta. So Giordano's, Home Run In, Connie's, all of them are name brand. but Italian Fiesta.
I'm on that. I told you to ask. I'm on that. I'm on that.
Right there on 71st Street.
Yeah, right down 71st Street. That's right.
What you know about that, Neil?
Let's
What
get
you
it.
know
Google.
about that?
I just know Google. I just know.
Now
and
Google
you know,
it.
you know, nail them on tour. Nail them about to go on tour.
You
so
feel me? I'm like, hey, where the
Yeah, you
spots
coming
at?
to
yeah, they about to go on
Chicago.
tour.
Just
So
write that one
yeah.
down. Wow,
Man.
you got me, Neil. That was
So
good.
so I want to start here, guys. We're talking about, and I want y'all to really hear the word, self-care. And I think one of the challenges, when you talk about educators, teachers specifically, it doesn't start with self. It generally starts with the student. It starts with, the school and the responsibilities of the school. And I know when we say this, guys, it's going to seem challenging, but you really do have to make yourself the priority, and not make yourself the priority for the sake of you being the priority, but make yourself the priority so you could be the best version of you you could be. And I made a decision in the winter months to stay out in Cali. And I remember, man, Vondale, I remember how challenging that was, just on so many levels. First, those that I work with, whether it be the school sexton, all the kids was like, oh, you're not going to be in the hallway. Like when we come in, they used to me like literally being like, when they come in the building, I'm in the building, shaking hands, pumping people up. We got music going. My church members are used to seeing me on the weekend and they're like, yo, what does that mean to us? Like, you're not going to be here. And I was like, I'm not. But when I come back, I'm going to be not only there for you, but at the highest level I could possibly be there for you. And so if I don't take care of myself, and I'm not going for a year, I'm not going to be going for a year. Most of, the time I'll be gone, you guys have breaks, there are, just certain things you guys got to do. So I need to go and take care of myself. And so I want to start first, for each one of you, I want you to think about and give us tips where we can make ourselves the priority. Like before we literally talk about self-care itself, I just think it's so difficult for a lot of people to take care of themselves because mentally this guilt that you feel like, man, I'm taking care of myself. And so to take care of myself means I'm not taking care of you, and, if I take care of myself, then, they gonna miss out and and then you end up not taking care of yourself. And then you end up, and I'm just going to be honest, if there is one environment I struggled in the most, it was when I was in the classroom. And I knew something was wrong because by April or May, I was ready to quit. I was ready to throw in a towel. And so I knew that meant that you didn't balance yourself. Like if you're ready to go, if you're ready to leave and you love these kids and you love the work that you're doing, it means you overexerted yourself. Like it meant you weren't balanced. Like you just went all in. And so let's talk mentally first. What can we do? I'll start with you, Vondale, especially being an administrator and supporting teachers and working with teachers. What do you think we teachers need to do to put themselves in a mindset where they take care of themselves first? And why is it so important?
Yeah, so it's really three things that come to my mind. So the priorities, people, and performance. Keep your priorities sacred. I think understanding like what you need to do every day to utilize the team around you. And so there were things where I knew I could do, but it wasn't to my advantage that I did it all by myself. So learning to delegate and learning to pace yourself. We talk about the PACE calendar a lot within the school systems. But taking care of yourself includes investing and developing the people around you. Why? Is because you should be working yourself out of a job. You should be thinking about who's going to replace you and who's going to be there to run that space when you're not there. And then the last piece is just the performance. It starts with the proper preparation. That's mindset. It's the things that you do on the spiritual side, on the physical side to kind of get you ready for that battle.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's that, whatever it is for you, whatever that means, spiritual, physical, working out, walking, exercise. I'll be honest with you. I've found, Vondale, for my emotional health, it's better for me to walk than run. Now, for my physical health, my body may actually appreciate running more because I sweat a little bit more. But when I walk, an hour and a half a day, when I walk, I can actually think and meditate. When I'm running, I can't really think in the same way I can when I walk. So a lot of times I force myself to walk because I can think, and so I'm like, okay, E, if you're going to run, maybe in the afternoon or something. But first thing in the morning, you need to walk because, man, there are some toxic things that's on my brain that I could get off. There might be, something difficult that I had to address, and I'm able to get that off my mind so that when I show up my best version. So I just want to, let you teachers know, like, we're not saying that you shouldn't be human. You're human. But by the time we walk in the classroom, we actually know every day what time we're walking in. So we have time to prepare ourselves for the environment. And again, I used to just, my 3 o'clock in the morning routine with prayer and stuff like that. And then I had an accountability group that still goes on to this day. We've been meeting over 25 years. And that's the kind of place where I'm able to speak about issues in a productive way. And you guys got to understand, I tell people all the time, like, yo, if you're talking about your job in a negative way, like, that's ignorant because it's your job. Like, so why are you going to dog out like your sacred circle? Like, now I do understand speaking about issues, but you should be talking to people who, for instance, and this has nothing to do with teaching, or maybe it does, but there are a lot of men on there, and there are a couple of teachers who may talk about their marriage. We don't let you talk negative about your wife. We don't let you talk negative about your kids. You are able to come to us with an issue, but by the time we get off that phone, you love your wife more, your kids more, and now you have a strategy to go home or go to your school and work at another level. So I just wanted to encourage you on those two fronts, the walking and the meditation, when he talks spiritual, and having a body of people that you talk to where you're not complaining, but you're legitimately looking for solutions to be able to do whatever it is you do better. Sam, talk to me, because I know you, man, you talk about not being balanced. Like you was killing it at the school and then taking these kids out the country. You know what I'm saying? So you was with these babies almost 24/7. So what type of suggestions can you give to teachers?
Yeah, that's so true. I was unbalanced for a long time and didn't even realize it, until you start switching up your routine. And I think about, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna stay at the school till 9 o'clock. I'm gonna knock all this stuff out and I'll take care of myself later. But it wasn't until I started to realize okay, it's my first year teaching. I played basketball in college. I barely exercised in that first year. I gained 15 pounds. I was like, okay, Samantha, something else has to give. So, really getting those routines. And I realized that if I went and took care of my body and exercise, that I could actually be way more productive in that time that I allocated for work instead of just staying there till 9 o'clock, working on everything. And I mean, sometimes you might have to do that if you have a big event coming up or something like that. But that was a daily thing for me. And I was like, no more. Wow. But one thing that I saw recently, which was super interesting, was an organization called Restore More. They're working on these Zen dens for teachers. So connecting kind of administrators and taking care of your teachers. I mean, just thinking about our teachers right now, our teacher shortage is growing tremendously. It was already growing before the pandemic. It's definitely growing now. Mm-hmm. And just thinking about how you can help facilitate that teacher self-care. But I just thought this is really cool. I saw they went into a school, they flipped the whole teacher's lounge and turned it into a Zen den. And it was relaxing couches and they surprised the teachers. And I spoke with some of the teachers and they were like, I feel cared for. And I feel I can come here. I can shut my mind off for a little bit, even if it's only 15 minutes. So I thought that was really cool. I love it. But yeah, there's so much, with teacher self-care. And I think making sure that you get the routines for yourself and making sure that you are taking care of yourself. And really, honestly, one of the other things I had to do was replace my own thoughts of what was so urgent. It was beating my own mind. This is so urgent. I have to have this done. I have to have that done. And using strategies to really replace unrealistic thoughts, because I realized I was having a lot of those unrealistic thoughts about what had to be done by the next day. I was like, okay, what are the 3 things that need to get done and whatnot? So I think that was an important part for me as well.
Good. I love it. I love it. Nell, talk to us. Teachers, man, what can they do to take care of themselves?
I think the number one, to me, the most important thing is you have to know what you need to do to take care of yourself. So if you've never learned yourself and learned what energizes you and learn what depletes you, you'll be doing spa days and wondering why you still feel tense. And so it's never taken me very long to know what I need. It's just sometimes very difficult to do it, which is I'm actually energized by the people I love the most. And so if I do like an entire work day and I don't see my family, and this is crazy because this is really hitting home because me and my husband just went back and forth about this. Like he was like, hey, you need to go home, you need to lay down, you need to go to sleep. And I'm like, you don't get it. Right. No, I need to be with my babies. Right. I need to see my husband. Like I need to see my parents. And so it's just knowing specifically.
That's good, Neil.
It's knowing specifically what you need that energizes you. Man, if I could sit up with my mom and dad and just talk to them until 10 p.m., I'll be just fine. But if I go to sleep at 7:30, I'm gonna still wake up at 7 a.m. tired.
Absolutely.
You gotta know what really energizes you. Especially like when you in the school day, especially if you're one of those teachers, like you catching the feelings of the kids, you catching their emotions, you seeing the stuff on their face, you watching their body language, you are zoned, like dialed in all day. One of the things I learned is like when I leave, I have to leave. Like I have to go and decompress. And I always say it's a challenge and a blessing for me. Whenever I'm doing something, I'm 1,000 on that. Whenever that's not the case, I'm not even thinking about it. So I used to tell my kids all the time, I love y'all to life. I wholeheartedly do. And I think about you probably starting at 6 p.m. Sunday night. But when I'm not here, I am not here. Right. Like when it's Friday, I'm with my crew. When it's Saturday, I'm with my boo. And about 6 p.m. on Sunday, I'm like, all right, my babies, let me see what I got to do for my kids.
That's good.
But good. So knowing what you really need and then really unplugging and decompressing.
No, that's good now. That what depletes you, so that thing. So yesterday, and we're only in Cali for 3 days, and we was doing a lot of stuff. Service workers coming, a lot of stuff's going on. That night, Neil, is unbelievable. Didi started playing some jazz and started cleaning up, and I was like, I'm not doing it. Like I'm not doing it. I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to go to Phoenix tomorrow. I got a gig tomorrow. And the old me used to be like, yo, I want to do what she's doing, for the sake of the marriage. But I was like, yo, that cleanup that's not my thing. I'm talking about energy. She doing baseboards. Like, I don't even know. I'm like, yo, I didn't even know people still did that kind of stuff. She's wiping the cabinets down. You know what I'm saying? She like, no, we got a white house. So we got to, dusting. I'm like, you good. I'm good on that. And I was like, next time we come, I'm going to force you to get somebody to come in here and help you clean. Like I just got it because I can't spend all my day clean. It's a big house, but to your point, Neil, I used to not know what energizes me. And I was so focused on what energized everybody else and trying to make everybody else happy. And then I'm spending all my energy on them. And then when it's time for me, I'm like wondering why they not helping me the way I help them. You know what I'm saying? Like I gave them all this time. They're not going to give me. And it's like, no, that's not their priority. You made them their priority and they made them their priority. You feel me? And so now you mad because they're not making you a priority. No, they did what they were supposed to do. They did what energized them, and now you have to do what energizes you. So that's deep. And for those teachers out there, you're like, well, I don't even know. Through Extreme Teachers, we have an assessment that you can take. And believe it or not, within 15 minutes, we can show you, and the full report will show you what energizes you. At least, as Nell said, you will be aware. And then through our coaches, we can walk you through how you can use that assessment to help better you.